This segment of the Just Cooling podcast has been brought to you by the Tattoo Shop Radio and powered by Zeno FM.
Another episode of Just Cooling Podcast. I'm your man, Country Red.
I am DJ Queen.
And I'm DawsonSJewellS.
Hey, man, we have a special guest all the way from Canada, man. Tell them who you are and tell us what you got going on, brother, man.
Okay, good evening, everyone. My name is Len-Dor. Original name is really Akil Len-Dor, but I took my surname and abbreviated it. I'm originally from Canada, former CFL player, pro football player, rapper, personal trainer, all of the above.
Man, that's dope, man. Jump right into it, man. So I'm gonna keep it real funky and simple, man. So like, how did you first get started, and what was like the first song that made you realize, you know what, man, I could do this hip hop thing?
Bruh, you will not believe the very first song that got me into hip hop was Skee-Lo. I wish I was a little bit taller.
I ain't mad at it.
I was in church singing that song.
Oh wow, tell us this story, bro.
So I was about it was just after my dad died. I was 8 years old, and we went to a church called United Worldwide Church of God. So it was based out of Pasadena, California, but they had a branch in Trinidad. Okay. So my very first taste of hip hop was listening to Skee-Lo. I wish I was a little bit taller. I wish I was a baller. I wish I had a girl in a crib.
I would call.
Like I had that was basically my anthem.
That was catchy though. That was a catchy little song.
Yep. I loved it and I just ran with it. I did not get into I didn't start writing until like I was about 18 or 19.
Oh, okay.
Because originally before I did dance hall before.
Oh wow. Okay.
So that was my thing. And then my neighbor, who was where I lived in Trinidad, it's a very residential area. There's a lot of white people where I live.
Oh, really?
So,
okay.
Yeah. So where the very first hip hop album I owned was given to me by my neighbor, who was a white boy. And believe it or not, the very first album I had was Life and Time of Sean Carter Part 1.
Oh wow.
Wow. Okay.
That's a huge gap.
So that was my initiation into hip hop. And then I went straight on a Jay-Z frenzy for like about how long? I mean, could be like 3-4 years. And then I went in to start writing when I started listening, when a friend of mine just said, you know what, you really don't understand the principles of this. So let me throw you into the deeper end with the real old school. So guys like KRS-One, Rakim, they became my shepherds in this, and the rest is history, man.
Wow. That's that beginning of your introduction. I was not expecting it.
Right.
Listen to your music.
Yeah.
I thought you would have said somebody probably from the East Coast.
No.
But that's still dope. I just,
Yeah. But yeah, you have to. For me, I just found Skee-Lo. He was it's very witty how he wrote about that. Like he wrote about his insecurity in a comedic way, and you can't get around that. So that's kind of like part of the element of my music. What I try to do, I try to be very animated, and I try to paint very vivid pictures for people.
That makes sense now.
Yeah, so that's why I like to do it. And as the years went by and my producers and we came together, I grew up, all the guys who create my music and do my production, we grew up together. So they were way more versed than I was.
Okay.
So they threw me into the deep end where we started listening to dudes like the Lost Boys. And if you want to go even further, Nas Effects. Then if you want to go even further, we went as low as what do they call them again? I think you call them is the Zombies, Flatbush Zombies.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, so when I started traveling as a kid, when you're from the Caribbean, you go to New York. It's like you literally step from outside the TV inside the television, because it's like now we're in the mix of it. So now you're seeing everything.
Right.
So when I started doing those things, I started really absorbing what it was in hip hop. And it's funny how the guys who amazed me more were the guys who weren't even seen on the television. It was more underground dudes I started listening to. So a lot of my catalog and a lot of the influences I have is guys like Mark Homme, Buckshot, Talib Kweli, Mostaf, all these guys who in my eyes are like, you know, were really like, even before they were heard, because of their artistic approaches to their music.
Okay.
Is what I try to employ in my stuff. So yeah.
That's dope, man. That's good stuff right there, man.
Tell us about the football career. How did that work out?
Good question. So believe it or not, Trinidad has no American football at all. I originally was a basketball player. I played 5. I had a scholarship to go to Lawtown University, Oklahoma.
Really?
Yeah.
That's where we at.
Yeah. A Division II school.
Yeah.
It fell through because the school couldn't afford it. So I had a coach who said, why you didn't try football? Now, I had a cousin who tried out for the Baltimore Ravens back then, but he didn't turn out to be anything really. No disrespect to him, but he was a linebacker, and he went to his combine. He pulled a hammy. So he started guiding me according to certain things. I didn't have a coach or anything. I basically coached myself. I had a strength and conditioning coach in Trinidad, whatever, and I started doing a bunch of film, just sending to schools. Originally, I was supposed to go to a university. So a number of universities accepted me, especially here in Canada. Other JUCOs accepted me, but the problem is that the agent I had back then, his mindset was, you're too big. you're too big. And then he believed that the learning curve would have been easy for me if I go straight professional. So, I mean, fast forward to that, I was supposed to go to a university here called York University, but the professional CFL team, Toronto Argonauts, signed me instead instantly, straight from home to here.
Wow.
So I had to work with them for a bit. And then they basically put me into because I had to learn so much, I had to go into a farming state where they put me to play with other different teams and other different sections. I had to move to the US for about off and on about 3-4 years. So that's been my life. So I played for Toronto Argonauts. Then I went to camp with Calgary Stampeders. And then I moved to the US. I moved to Tampa. I played for Tampa Bay Storm AFL team.
Okay.
Then I had to move to Lakeland, Florida to play for another arena team. Then I had to move back to Toronto, to Canada, sorry, for Calgary.
Hey.
And then it gets better. And then my agent got me a sit down with the Buffalo Bills. So the player personnel and GM at the time invited me to Buffalo, put me in the box and everything, and the conversation, and they wanted to bring me in on the practice roster. I mean, just to be a camp body. It was between them or the Oakland Raiders. You know what I mean? At that point in time. So for me, a Caribbean boy, just basically using my potential. You know what I mean? Being big. I'm 6'8", 300 and change. And at that point in time, I played as an offensive lineman. I was a tackle, originally a nose tackle, but they put me to O-line, and I flourished there, and the rest was history, and just ran with it.
Wow.
Who's your favorite NFL team?
Yeah, my favorite NFL team, believe it or not, is the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Wow.
Okay, that'll work. I'm an Eagles fan.
The Steelers.
I'm an Eagles fan, so I'll take that. As long as you say Dallas Cowboys, I'm cool.
Right.
All right, whatever. We don't even go there.
Got Deion Sanders outfit on over there.
I was fortunate to see Buffalo and the Jets play, and I was fortunate to see a couple of the NFL teams play. Never saw the Cowboys play though. I always like their uniform though. It's clean, it's nice, but they're terrible. But we're gonna leave it.
Oh yeah, all right with me.
But that uniform though.
What was that process like? Just going to different teams, was that a wear and tear?
It is emotionally, and it's a wear and tear. If it's like this, bro, it's like you have to be always willing to start over. I lived my life on an airplane for 4 to 5 years because you never know if you're gonna get cut, right? So I remember when I went to Tampa. That was when Cam Newton got drafted that year.
Oh wow!
And half of his offensive line was in the same room with me.
Oh wow.
And those guys got cut.
Mm.
And they came to us. Because what happens is that when you get cut, or let's say you're a low draft pick, you have to now go back and try to get recent film for a scout to see you, to bring you back up onto the big leagues, right? So it's literally like a plantation. I always tell my wife that it's like a plantation, because you're walking into a room of nothing but tall, big Negroes just like you, athletic just like you, smart just like you, but they have more accolades too. They played for Division I schools, they played for all these top tier programs, but they getting cut. And God was on my side to the point where a lot of those teams I played for, I never got cut. It's like someone has traded me off to somewhere else. Some of these dudes I know who are very well. I played with guys who blocked for Tim Tebow and all that stuff. Like, these are dudes with high accolades. And so the emotional factor of it, of being moved around like a chess piece, is the tough part, because you have to start over. Like, imagine I had to sit on a Greyhound bus for 18 hours to go from Nashville, Tennessee.
That's a long way.
All the way back to Cincinnati to go work out for a team.
Oh man, that's a lot of small towns you had to stop in. All that stuff.
You name it, every redneck villa past Ohio, you name it, it was there. But I loved it though. I won't trade it for the world, because it gave me a very good perspective on life. It made you grow up.
Wow.
So when was the last game you played? Like, when was your last time?
The last game I played was in 2015. 2015, yeah. So I was still, when I was with a team called Nashville Venom. That's an arena team there. They had a very good program there. And the beautiful thing, again, the facility that we trained out right across the field is the Tennessee Titans. Like, literally, you're looking at each other, and you're like, they're looking at you train, and you're looking at them train. That's the beautiful thing about it. And the same thing when I was in Tampa. With Tampa Bay Storm, I played with them. Tampa Bay Bucks are right across the field.
Wow.
So it's for a small island guy like me, it's
right,
dream, bro. You know what I mean? You could go and tell your friends, well, I saw Gannon there, I saw this guy there. So it was good. No issues at all. I wouldn't regret it for the world. I love it.
Cool, man. So shifting gears, man, can you tell us about the state of hip hop up there in Canada now? Like, what's hot? What don't you like? What do you like? How's that going right now?
Right. So I'm a big fan of boom bap. I'm a huge fan of articulating my feelings. I'm a huge fan of being very descriptive. The thing with in Canada right now, you have a Drake-a-mania that still is in the remnants of things, right? You have to remember the culture of these young kids right now. If it doesn't sound a hibbity, 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 they don't listen to it.
Okay.
If it doesn't have that trap vibe or that real lean crackhead type of flow, they don't listen to it.
Not
you know what I mean? Yeah, they don't. No, but it's true though. Because they don't really have the capacity. They don't want to have the capacity to absorb it. They just want to have a good time. So what is happening in Canada right now is that all the dudes who are like me and really putting out quality work, it's now kind of like a small economy. If you understand what I'm saying. Like, it's your peers supporting your peers. You know, your homeboys will buy it, your boys will support it, you collaborate, you put together. But the mass majority of people in Canada don't buy our style of music. They buy a lot of more popish stuff. They buy a lot more, Drake-a-mania type of vibe. You know what I mean? That's what's the goal. But they do have a lot of talented dudes up here who could rap their asses off, and they're very talented and very creative. So that's my stance on it.
What do you think about the state? Well, since you already said how you feel a little bit about it, what do you feel about the state of music right now?
In what perspective, ma'am? If you could please elaborate. And what you mean the state? Do I think if it's getting better or worse?
Whatever. I guess. Do you think it's getting any better than it was? Well, no. I guess the state of music compared to, I'm gonna tell my age, but compared to back in the
Okay.
late 90s.
Quality. I'll say this: the quality is terrible.
Right. Okay.
The redundancy is high.
Mm-hmm.
The creativity is on the underground.
Oh yeah, always.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So, and because of the streaming service, the monster that I think is the Achilles heel of the music business right now, you're not getting people who are taking their time anymore.
Right.
I was having a conversation with a friend of mine just a while ago. Like, I'm excited to put this latest project in a CD. I'm designing my own CD cover, the booklet, and everything. You remember when you first got your first album, when you did this and you opened that up?
Oh,
Yeah.
you read the credits who produced
right.
it.
You know,
You should get the words was on there too.
right.
Yeah, me and my brother used to do that all the time. Yeah.
Right. So this is, I think that is what is the problem. There's no more focus on quality anymore. There's
no more
how
excitement
much you
either.
could get out, how quick you could get it out, and how fast you could get it out, and who you could try to sound like to get the ear of listeners. When the truth is, the formula is quite opposite. It's being unique in your own self and building off of that. So, and I think it's doing a negative and a positive, because it's making people like you and I stand out. Because when people hear something different, they're like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah, absolutely.
But then the flip side of that, now you have so much of volume of nonsense and garbage that your good work sinks down to the very end. Right. So I just think right now, I think is a certain form of revolution is happening with guys like Rock Marciano and these guys and Aldivino, but the kids are having their fun right now, and it's the frequency is just off for me, and I just don't feel it at all. I can't stand today's music. No, I just don't mess with it.
Right. No, I agree.
All right, DJ Quinn, it's time to pay some bills, man. Take us a short commercial break, brother, man. We'll be back in about 30 seconds.
If you're one of the millions of Americans overwhelmed by debt, Settle Bank Debt has a life-changing solution. We offer an aggressive approach to reducing your debt, often for a fraction of what you owe. Our debt settlement experts will help put a stop to the harassing phone calls, end your debt, and give you the financial freedom you deserve. Make the most important call of your financial life today. Call Settle Bank Debt now at 877-492-7222 or visit settlebankdebt.com.
Back, shout out to Settle Bank. Oh no, shout out to that guy.
Get your credit right. Get your credit right.
Right. Welcome back, man. You can also check us out on the Hub YouTube channel on Fridays at 9 p.m. Central Time. Kickback with Sports on Tuesdays. The MilkTray on Mondays. Kickback on Thursdays. Also, you can check us out on the Tattoo Shop Radio on Fridays on Zeno.fm, 12 a.m. to 1 a.m. Eastern Time. We are back in the building.
For sure.
Welcome back.
Yes. Have you ever done do you do spoken word?
My friend. You know what's the funny thing though? I had a girl back in the day. She used to try to get me to do that, but when you're young, you think you're macho, right? So trying to be like the next type of how thou art type of dude. You know what I mean? You're not trying to be like. That's how I saw it back then. You know what I mean? I didn't take it seriously, right? So
right on.
But on a couple of my projects, I've approached some of my songs that way, and I've approached it where sometimes I try to be a lot more deeper than others. So yeah, I could do it. I never done it, but I could do it. It's
okay, yeah. Okay.
That's dope.
Hey, you want to get into the track?
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah.
And listen for it for a hot minute.
Cool. Yeah, let's just play that track. Yeah.
All right.
Go ahead and introduce
the track.
Yeah. Let him introduce.
Oh, you want me to introduce it or him?
Oh, you can do it.
You.
All right, well, this track is basically off the album I'm releasing on the 14th or from Bandcamp, and it'll be on the streaming platforms on April the 7th. The album is called The Truth They Denied. The song is called DeLorean. So let it rip.
My brother, he was my centurion. Let me take you back, grab the DeLorean. Dad died, he went to the abyss. Mama, my queen, raised me since. My brother, he was my centurion. Let me take you back, grab the DeLorean. Have been an athlete most of my life. Real. A chubby kid body came with the height. Chunky knowledge came, it came with strife. Had to bruise knuckles from every fight. Real.
Mm-hmm.
Man, okay, you're a little tease, huh?
Yeah, it's a little bit.
You're a little appetizer, man. Explain that meaning behind that song. Like, what was it all about?
Yeah, absolutely.
To the masses.
So basically, it's called DeLorean. The person at the beginning is my mom.
Okay.
She lives in Trinidad. So one of these days, I said, Mom, could you just do a voice note for me? Tell me something like motivating. And she's a very spiritual woman. And I took it and put it in front of it. But DeLorean describes exactly what my life is. My dad died when I was 6 years old. My mom, she raised me and my little brother. She never remarried. She put everything into us. Mm-hmm. So we carry her with a sort of pride, like an honor. We don't like to disappoint her.
Okay.
My brother was my best friend, literally. My little brother was my best friend. He's married with his 3 kids now. So I'm basically on that song. I'm trying to give people a little idea of what it was like for me growing up. Okay. You know what I mean? How I was foreseen, and I played sports all my life. You know what I mean? So, give people a step of how it was for me growing up, what was important for me, what my family was, and how we saw things. So I named it DeLorean as like I'm saying, like, you know what, like the movie Back to the Future. You go to the past, you go to the future, wherever it is. So I'm just giving people an idea of what it is, what my life is like. There's a lot of pain in that song too, because I went through when I retired, I was diagnosed with lupus in 2016. I spent 6 months in the hospital. I didn't even know. I never had spent a day in my life in the hospital until that. And that was a sense of basically stress and living on the road and not eating properly. And so, I took that opportunity to articulate exactly what was going on in my life and give people an idea of this person you see right now is not what you think it is. You know what I mean? I didn't come up with a turnip truck. I literally went through a real tough time in 2016. Couldn't walk, couldn't do nothing. Wow. We lost like 80 pounds. You know what I mean? Like, it was so bad that it is like the doctors didn't even know. It took them like 4 weeks to find out what was wrong with me. So, but after God, everything is great. I'm fine. Everything is in remission. I offer all medication, which I think is a blessing, because not much people are lucky with that. And I remember one time one of the nurses or the doctors told me, she said, "You're lucky." So I'm looking at her like, "How do you mean I'm lucky? I'm butt naked in diapers." And she said, "No." She said, "A lot of people don't be the same after they go through this." Because I was literally on the ward walking around asking for ice cream and getting spoiled by the nurses, getting pastries and snacks and shit. You know what I mean? And she said they were shocked. So it really was a chapter in my life that's when I chose to take my music and just put it out there, because I think those are some of the most timeless tracks when you create songs that people can resonate with,
Man, first of all, I want to commend you for even being vulnerable and honest with that song, my brother. Like, that probably had to be more of a therapeutic situation for you to write that and kind of relive it. And so, like, that's not easy, and I don't take that for granted, for anybody that really pours out their emotions and sleeves and their experience writing a song, or even just sharing it, something that's that personal and near and dear to you and your family, man. So just shout out to you just for you even doing that, man. That's very brave of you.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I appreciate that a lot. Thank you very much.
Is there a lot of competition out there?
In what sense? For music?
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. You have almost everybody out here rapping, bro. Your bus driver could kick you 16. Yeah, I'm dead serious. Like, there was like an old dude. Yeah, he was like he could be my dad. He was
the dad raps.
Yeah, he was kicking it. He was kicking a heavy 16.
Oh wow.
So yeah, there's a lot of competition. What you have out here though is you have a very badly run music industry. If that makes sense.
Speak on it. Yeah.
So in other words, then like you see, like how you all have the machine out there. Like when a dude blows, you have a manager. Everyone that falls into the slot and does all the work for you. And before you know it, you're on BET 106 in Park or some shit like that.
Yeah.
Here it's not like that. Here it's literally you have to do everything for yourself, even down to marketing. And they don't really have companies here that market music as a brand. If you know what I'm saying, really have distributors that say, you know what, well, we do what Atlantic Records do, or we do what they do. There's none of that here. And the music that gets more of the exposure to the masses here are the more pop style vibe of hip. So that's why guys like Drake and those guys win, because they know what they cross over with other Caucasian groups, and those Caucasian groups, some pop girl from BC who sings like Mariah Carey will do a collaboration, and the rest is history. But competition on the underground level of things, yes. But the commercial side, not much. That's why Drake had to go to the US to blow before he could come back here and do what he's doing right now. Because back before he was the guys like Socrates and these guys had to go over the border, do songs with Method Man and Redman, get an affiliation, and even still when they got that affiliation, it didn't do anything. It just it's when they came over the border, it just dropped. That's it. So it's one of those things where it's Canada doesn't really have that machine. And I think it's starting to change a little bit because dudes are taking upon themselves initiative to go across the border and market themselves and spend the money and pay for features and rub shoulders with the right ones. You know what I mean? And then again, you have a lot of American artists leave the US and they come here and they make good money. For instance, like the ones who are not as relevant as before will come here and they'll throw concerts and you swear as if like, well, he hasn't been relevant since 2004, but shit, the whole place is sold out.
Yeah.
So, you know, who was up here again? Tony Yayo was just recently here.
Wow.
Who else? Killer Priest from Wu-Tang was just recently here. He was
Killer Priest,
last week.
Yeah, that's dope. Okay.
Who else? They had a Odyssey was here. You know, that's one of my favorite artists, Odyssey. Like, so I'm saying, like, the American, y'all come across here and your values are instantly shown. I give you a lot of respect for that because y'all know how to market. But here, a Canadian going across,
it's different.
There, it's not received the right way. So that's why most of the time you have to get a cosign, right? So you know what I mean? That's how it is. So
dang. Okay, so we're gonna jump into our first segment, man. So give us your top 5 songs that impacted your life. They don't have to be in no particular order.
All right. I'm an 80s baby.
We all are. Yeah, we are. Yeah.
So, a lot of all right. Okay. Top 5 artists or songs?
You could do both. Mix them up. You could do a mixed bag. You could do a couple of songs and artists.
Skilo is number 5.
Okay.
Any song from Rakim.
Okay.
Any song from Rakim. I've Jay-Z, early Jay-Z. Early
Jay-Z, okay.
Early Jersey. Who else? I don't know, but I kind of like the Locks though. DMX, the Locks. The Kiss and Styles P and Chic, when they come together, they did some beautiful things. And who would I give for number 5, man? Like honestly though, it's a combination again. Talib Kweli.
Most Def.
Okay. And Fonte.
Oh, okay, from Little Brother.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, like
okay.
Really
them boys, they float. They're timeless. If you listen to their music, they're timeless. You can't get around that.
That's the first time I heard somebody on this show mention somebody from Little Brother, man. So shout out to them, man. Yeah, that's definitely different.
Fonte.
I like that. It wasn't your obvious top 5, you know what I mean? So I appreciate that, you know.
Fonte dope.
Fonte, he mad underrated.
Master Eighth.
Oh yeah.
Master Eighth. Those dudes to me are timeless writers. Yeah, they're timeless writers. Those, when you hear a song from those guys, you can just kick back and relax, man. Them boys will open your minds to different double entendres and the way how they write their topics and all that stuff is dope.
Man.
Are you gonna shoot a video for that song?
I actually did. It's up on YouTube already. It's been released in the 14 itself. So it's there. I shot it. I did a video myself. I shot it in the perspective as an old VHS video.
Okay.
Because of the element of the song. So yeah. And basically it's me basically imparting the whole song and being expressive about it. So yeah. So I have a video for that as well too.
So can you talk more about what everybody can expect on this new album that's coming out?
Yeah.
Let's touch into that a little bit.
Well, the beautiful thing about this album is that this album was produced by Bofat. He's a German producer. I don't know if you ever heard of him. He has done a lot of work with a lot of different extensive rappers. He worked with a lot of famous rappers and stuff like that. And he reached out to me when he heard Spike T, and he was like, "Yo, let's work." And believe it or not, this album was done in 3 weeks. This album I took it as an opportunity to articulate a lot of things that I couldn't articulate in the past, like my pain, my experiences. I spoke about my marriage. I spoke about my dad. Like I never wrote a song on my dad before, and I did one. It's called "Dear Dad." It made me cry. Actually, you could actually hear me crying at the end of the track. I also articulated a lot of hopeful desires too for people who are depressed and go through depression and all that stuff. A lot of people don't realize when you go through a hospital bed for like 6 months, it can really mess with your mind.
Yeah.
And so I took the time to let people know in this album that, you know what, I actually wrote a song for Kanye West as well too, in the process of what he has been going through, and expressing the fact that, you know what, we get it, but you're coming across a little bit bad right now. Take a step back and breathe and recalibrate. So the song on that album is called Perplexed. So I took very much topics very seriously. I spoke about propaganda, I spoke about the war. So everything that day to day mixed in with my past and my life, I just rammed it in that one biography and put it in my perspective. So yep, it's a great listen. I guarantee it. Put my faith in it.
I believe, man. I can't wait to hear it, man. We can't wait to hear it.
Right.
Wow, man. So can you talk about the songs Rat Trap and Signs of the Times? I had to ask you that one. That was,
All right. So which one you want to speak about first?
Let's do Rat Trap.
Yeah, let's do Rat Trap.
So, Rat Trap basically is speaking about myself, in Trinidad and Tobago, right? We have a very serious crime rate.
Okay.
All right, like it's bad. I wrote that in speaking about myself as a person living within that environment and seeing certain things going on, and talking about the deceit that walks around you when you have certain people in your circles. I've been through a lot of disappointments with this music business and friends. I've shed a lot of people who I thought were my friends and stuff like that. So I've also had friends who I grew up with who were either incarcerated or dead. So because of their lifestyle or whatever. So that Rat Trap was basically giving you that very introspective perspective of how I see the world. And the video I did, my wife helped me shoot the video.
Okay.
And her idea, it really is what played out in that whole video because of the fact that she's, because when she heard the song, she said, this song is if like you're kind of like you're in your feelings with this one, like you're really sitting down, really putting things in deep moderation in your mind. So that's why I wrote that song. I wrote it is explaining how the world has become a rat trap because you don't know who to trust.
Right.
That makes sense.
You know what I mean? You could die by the bullet. You could die however. You know what I mean? No miracles. It's all simple. The same hand that feeds you shakes the table. You know what I mean? So that's what I'm telling you. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
I'm trying to let people understand that, you know what, the world we live in, who you think loves you doesn't really love you, and the person who loves you is the person you think is your enemy. Can I be honest with you?
Man, that's deep.
Signs of the Times.
Yeah.
Was produced by a producer, a guy who's a legend from here. His name is Angelo Silly. He was one of these guys here who, I don't know if you know, but back in Canada, they had their own version of MTV here called Much Music.
No.
It was in the early 90s. It was in the early 90s. And he was a pioneer from my country who got featured on that guy. He used to live here. And he sent me a beat, because he's also a producer as well. And he sent me a beat and he said, you know what, Akil, I want you to put your heart in this. So I wrote Signs of the Times. And at that point in time, they had this whole gender bullshit going on. And I kind of like took it as a point in time to really express how we are very much being in this world, we are being treated like cattle, and according to the information being put out, and we don't see it. So I went to school I did my degree in operational health and safety, and one of my credits in my degree that was very extensive was psychology, right? And basically they would show you all the different ways. There's a guy called Ivan Pavlov, how he was the first one came up with the backbone for marketing and how they use propaganda to sway people. So in that,
I'm sorry, say his name again.
Ivan Pavlov. He was I think Ukrainian or Russian.
Okay, cool. All right.
They consider him the father of marketing, right? Because he had an experiment where he did on dogs where he realized he was able to manipulate their behavior.
Right.
And he was able to take those same principles and put it into his marketing agency. And he was able to manipulate people through sound, music, information. That's how Hitler started with the whole propaganda nonsense. A lot of people don't know that. So when you have a very already sensitive society that know the truth, but you could still challenge their views because you're giving them tangible things that they could read, a lot of people will still doubt what exactly the truth is because they see it here.
Right.
Because they're not strong in their conviction. So in that song, Signs of the Times, is basically talking about, how we as Black people have been really much wooed and lied to. And then on top of that, we're being pushed in this whole democratic bullshit of accepting every little piece of false pseudoscience nonsense.
Right.
That you already know it's obvious in your face.
Right.
You touch it, you grew up with it, you know exactly what it is. But they're still trying to challenge that, though. And they're trying to push it down your throat, even by intimidation. So what do you do then? And at some point in time, you still have to have a stand somehow.
I don't know. It don't seem like people do. I feel like they still don't.
Well, let's what? Stand for everything or die for nothing. And then the problem is that we're in a generation right now where we live off of this.
Right.
So when this comes at you in your face easily, a lot of people take that much more important than the Bible. So they will, it came across here, so it's true. So that's what I wrote that song about. So my boy, he gave it to me, Angel C gave it to me, and I just did the work with it, and it actually turned out pretty well. A lot of people liked it, and the rest is history.
Wow, man, I like that perspective, man. How you broke that down. Appreciate that, man.
Yeah, that's no problem, man. That's no problem. It's everything I do in my music is just relative to life. I'm not a liar. I'm not gonna. I mean, there's so much embezzlement going on when it comes to music, bro, and lyrics and images and attitudes. And believe it or not, one of my favorite MCs right now is Shanor. You ever heard of her? All right, so Shanor is a female rapper.
She R&B?
Shanor is from Buffalo, right? She just got signed to Spesh 38 Spesh. Now Shanor is a female MC. Take a look at her when you get a chance.
She
is one of the most articulate writers. Surprisingly, she's one of the most articulate writers I've ever heard. Her and another female called C Red. And those girls, the way how they impart their emotions, beautiful.
Okay.
And that I think not because they're females, but I think that conviction that they have is what is missing in the game. Where people will actually tell the truth. They won't tell you something because they're trying to get streams and views. You know what I mean? I think that's one of the reasons why guys like Benny Butcher and those guys were able to run so hot for a while, because they were telling the truth. This is what they do. You know what I mean? So I think that's what is missing: true conviction, true identity, true. You rap this way, I rap this way. This is my style. This is your style. We could still come together and make it sound unique. That's what is missing, and that's why I try to do it on my projects. Try to do it all my projects. Come quite different.
You've answered all my questions without me even have to ask them.
Yeah, I get out a lot, but I mean, I take these opportunities for people to understand that, you know, this is how I think. You know, I mean, I'm not Socrates in this bullshit. You know what I mean? It's something. It's very common sense. It's a lot of common sense. I have a lot of respect for this genre. I have a lot of respect for my peers who do it. What I don't have respect for is the faking it till you're making it. Right. That don't make any sense. Because all you're just doing is providing a bunch of diluted concepts out there. And when you create music for other people to hear and they don't know who you are, they're going to take everything you say as word in Bible. And when you take that, you're going to poison another young man or young woman to go out there and do something that you yourself not even living.
Wow.
So who's responsible for that? You know, so my big brother S, I think you all interviewed him, S.
Yes, you did. Right? Yeah, shout out to S. Yeah.
He's like my big brother. I mean, we work very closely together. I do all his visuals and stuff like that, and he has been very, very motivating for me because of when you listen to his music, he's not lying. Like. I know S personally. S is a family guy, 3 kids, wife, awesome dude. And when I spoke to him the other day, I told myself, I don't know how you do it though, but you do it so effortlessly though. And he told me it's because I'm not lying. You know, like he's not lying. The last album he did called "Do You Want a Piece of Me?" You listen to that project? That could be one of the most beautiful pieces of art I've ever heard. Yeah. Because he was so real, talking about his life and talking about how he thought, how he saw his family, how he saw this. The single home he did, I shot the video for that. And when I had the opportunity to be around his family and stuff like that, I was like, bro, I actually turned and thanked him. I was like, bro, I really appreciate this because it gave me an understanding exactly what you are. And I walked away with that experience and I created The Truth They Deny.
That's dope, man. Just on some regular, hey, you know, with nothing extra, right? Honest. Yeah.
Yep. That's what it is, bro. So for me, that's very important to me. And I try really hard to stick to the script, you know what I mean? Because I don't want to be seen as, he's just trying to do this, or he's trying to sound like someone, or he's trying to emulate someone. You're like, I'm not trying to do that. I'm trying to give you proper work. And my boys back home who do my production on all my projects and stuff like that, they're the same way. They have their own unique perspective. The Spike T was done in Trinidad and Tobago, the whole entire project.
I think that helps with the chemistry, man. It's nothing. It seems like there's no pressure when you have all the right elements around you. You know, if that makes sense. You know,
it flows smoothly.
Yeah, the only thing that you have to worry about is that you get people who try to, when people can't do something, they try to shit on you. They try to pick at your armor. Oh, well, I would have done this a different way. No, you would not. So that's all, really. One day at a time.
Already.
You want to get into this other commercial real quick?
Yeah, we could do that. We can pay some bills real quick. All right, welcome back, man. We're in the building. Just Cooling Podcast. We have Len-Dor from Canada. By the way, Trinidad. So I do have one more question. I'm about to run out of time, but I gotta ask you this, man. So if you could perform for 5 people, dead or alive, who would you perform for?
5 people. Oh, that's a good question. I would actually perform for my top 5.
Go ahead. Oh yeah, tell us. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
that was quick.
I'll perform for Talent Quality, Mos Def. I'll perform for maybe Chuck D, Mark Harmony.
Ooh.
I'll probably perform for Daz Effects, all them dudes.
Daz
Like,
Effects. Okay.
that's like, you ever listen to Daz Effects, old stuff? Bush Babies.
Yeah. I was bumping it
Bush
last
Babies,
week.
all them guys. Yeah. Like,
I listened to them last week. True story. I listened to them last week. I'm like,
Yeah,
damn, I forgot how dope they was. It took me
Oh,
back.
it was all it was classics.
Yeah.
Souls of Mischief. You name them.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of hieroglyphics. I'm a big fan of
Shout out to them too. Yeah.
Tribe Called Quest. So
Mhm.
that's just my era, man. I just love the 90s, bro. The 90s to me were the 90s and 80s were the most beautiful things in the world when it comes to music. And I hope it comes back. Really hope so.
We hope.
It
I
will,
hope
man.
so
As
too.
long as we got guys like you doing that,
Right.
man, you know, it'll happen.
I intend to do my part. I intend to do my
Yeah.
part, and I intend to continue to keep the standard. And that's something I'm seeing is the problem.
Mhm.
Standard is the problem. So that's it.
Go to the Who You Got segment.
Who you got segment, man? Whew. As I was pondering question, man. You mentioned Mos Def, Talent Quality. You said Dawes Effects, Chuck D, Public Enemy, Hieroglyphics. Man, I'm gonna throw in Who You Got segment with Hieroglyphics and A Tribe Called Quest.
Yeah, them boys, boy.
Who you got?
90 to Infinity.
Yeah, you can go with that.
Yeah.
Who you got out of those two groups? From out the Bay. This is the first one.
I'll stick with Tribe Called Quest.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll stick because I like Q-Tip. I like Q-Tip a lot. I like Five Dog a lot. They were innovative in that era, bro. I don't know if you listened to their projects like how I did, but you
yeah, all of their projects was nice.
Yeah, they not one project was the same. Listen to their projects again. Not one, brother, not one. Everything was completely different concepts.
They was trying to say the movement wasn't that hot, but that movement was one of the hottest ones.
Yep. Favorite producer of all time is Jay Dilla.
Oh, yeah.
Jay Dilla.
That was on my list too.
Ninth Wonder.
Pete Rocker did Jay Dilla, DJ Premier, but
Pete Rock, Jay Dilla, Ninth Wonder, Madlib, Knowledge from Stone's Throw and those guys.
Yeah.
Who else?
DJ Muggs, throwing DJ Muggs.
Oh, yeah. With Crime Apple and those boys. Yeah. They go. There's one producer I think doesn't get enough credit though, and I think people they kind of like look. I don't know, probably the people who he mess with or he works with. But he what's his name again, boy? Is Daringer?
Oh, with shoot,
I don't know. Who
not a
is.
Buffalo.
Yeah,
West Side Gun and them. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
You listen to his early stuff when Kanye's voice was still like a 12-year-old. Listen to that. He was still ahead of his time, bro. Like those are the dudes I look at. They're unique. They had their own perspective.
Hold up. I'm gonna throw in this guy here. Dude from from Cali. Is it Andre Young? Man.
Joe Elliott?
No. He produced the Ghostface album with the dramatics and all them on there. I think his name was man, I hope I ain't messed his darn name up, man. God dang it. But it's Andre Young.
Right.
Not like Dr. Dre Andre Young, but he's a producer from the West Coast. Man.
I'll look him up.
He has that old soulful, dirty, gritty. If you like Derringer, he's in that. But he plays a lot of instruments.
This is my son. Sorry about that.
Hey, what's up, buddy?
Yeah, it's my son.
So y'all check him out too, man. He put out a lot of classics too, man.
I like Stro Elliott. I like Stro Elliott. And there are quite a few different artists who I love and producers who I okay. And producers who he always does that. Producers who I revere a lot. Like ultimately, I would love to do a whole album if I can, and if it's possible, Stro Elliott. Take a look at Stro Elliott's album.
I'm gonna check him out.
Stro Elliott. Listen to that. He's very musically funk soul inclined in one.
Ooh, okay.
He has a song called Wolfenstein. You can find it on YouTube, and you can find it on YouTube. It says Wolf or Wolfenstein. You listen to that, bro? And he has I think he sang on it.
Crazy, huh? Bananas, huh?
One of the best songs. One of the best arrangements I've ever heard, yo. And that's
I'm gonna check them out because I'm into all that. So yeah, definitely gonna check that. So man, how can everybody get a hold of you as far as your music, your social, and all that, your mathematics, brother?
All right, so cool. You can find me on Instagram at LEN_DOR13. You can find me on Facebook as well too at Len-Dor. You can also find me on Bandcamp at Len-Dor. Same thing, same affiliation. On DistroKid, Len-Dor. You can find all my stuff there on Spotify and everything. I have some earlier tracks that I released. You can find me on YouTube, Len-Dor, LEN-DOR. It comes up. So you can find me anywhere. Also, if you want, you can shoot me a DM. If you want a feature, or you have a beat you want me to do with it, whatever it is. My whole boys from back home, we work with anyone. Once you have quality, we work with anyone. So yeah, you can find me at all, man.
Dope. Anybody else want to give a shout out, a plug while we here now? Not all at once.
Oh, well, check me out every Wednesday
there you go.
on Facebook, 8:30 Eastern Time. Wine on in. I review wine. I do my spotlight earrings, hand-painted earrings, and I give you a positive word of the day.
Yes, ma'am.
There you go. Right on.
Very much.
Going to end the show. We like to end our shows with a closing quote, man. Something positive affirmation, like my sister said. And I just want to leave this with you guys in the universe out here that for those that's going to tune in. So here it go like this, man. Strive not to be a success, but rather to be of value. I'm gonna say that again. Strive not to be a success, but rather to be of value. And that's by Albert Einstein. I actually like that one. So I wanted to leave you guys with that. I feel like we're all trying to strive. I don't want to say the word success, but just the value part is the part I like.
Right.
We're
not really. Well, I'm not looking at the.
He's what Albert is saying there is intrinsic value. He's talking about intrinsic value. In other words, what he's saying is that be a friend, be a help to your fellow man. That's what a lot of people don't realize. That's really what a lot of people are missing now. We're still striving to get this and acquire that, but intrinsic value is being helpful to your fellow man and being of substance is the key. So that's a good point. I appreciate that, man.
I feel like that's crazy because the way, like how this whole interview went, I felt like it was a perfect match. I don't know if that makes sense, but I never met you at all. We never met you, but like your vibe spoke to that quote. This is before I ever even thought about interviewing you, and so like I think that's dope, man. So how that all kind of just comes together.
I thank you all for giving me the opportunity to.
Likewise, brother.
Yeah, we appreciate you coming out.
Myself, and I hope we in the future could form from a bond of union until they for it.
Oh yeah, man! I can see this going and going, man. We could speak for hours, man. Just shooting the shit and just talking about some stuff, man. I love it.
I appreciate it,
man. All right, so that is it for another episode of this third season of Just Cooling Podcast. We are out. DJ Quinn, take us on home.